Technology now touches almost every aspect of our lives and will most certainly pave the way for any future development, future growth, and improvement. It's not just a matter of choosing to join the technological wave of the future, it is now integrated in almost every fiber of our existence and a crucial component for living a successful and fulfilling lifestyle. And it's the reason for approaching our educational system in a whole different light. Weslaco ISD has set an ambitious goal in our K-12 educational floor plan. In fact, we have extended our commitment to our students 4 additional years and now call it in short K-16.
It's like an old train, very large and made of heavy steel, emitting large clouds of smoke, requiring coal to help power the engine. And then you have this steam engine going into a tunnel, which is a tunnel that's completely pitch black. Well, that's a transitional phase that we're going to. But then all of a sudden, at the end of this tunnel, you begin to see a little light. That light continues to get bigger because obviously you're getting closer to it. But all of a sudden, you're having one of these bullet trains coming out. We're taking old technology, and now we're bringing in the latest and greatest technology available to our students. We want to have cutting-edge, innovative instruction so that we integrate in a lot of the technology so that we can enhance the instruction that's taking place in the classroom. What we're going to do is we're going to have every single student that comes through Weslaco ISD, that child will be ready and prepared to be successful in life until they retire.
Boys and girls, you have a wonderful day this morning, okay? Bye-bye.
All stakeholders, teachers, administrators, counselors, parents, and even those that most would think have little to do with a child's ability to learn, like bus drivers or cafeteria workers and maintenance men, they must all work collaboratively to provide students with a world-class education.
That's why we're here today. My name is Kevin Oyola, and you already know Kayla Saldana from all her TV appearances. And together, we'd like to take you through a visual tour of the classrooms in the district that have incorporated the use of technology in the classroom.
And it was interesting what motivated his new vision, and since he's been superintendent, we've heard him talk about this many times. Many of the jobs that exist today didn't exist 10 years ago, and the same concept applies to us in school today. Some of the jobs that we'll be applying for in 10 years won't exist today. So how can Weslaco ISD prepare us for an uncertain future? Dr. Alejandro says by giving us skills that help us be successful no matter what happens in our future.
Our first stop is at Central Middle School, where the smartphones are coming out of hiding and into the lesson plans of science teacher Miss Shirley LeBron. Let's drop in and see what 24/7 learning is all about.
We're going to take our quiz today over seasons, moon phases, eclipses, and tides. The question will pop out on the phone. You'll start and it goes all the way around the room. If you look, it goes all the way around.
What the kids do is they have their questions on their QR codes, and when they scan it, it pops up the question. They're able to answer it on their answer document.
What causes the changes of day and night on Earth?
The kids absolutely love it because a lot of my stuff in classroom are notes. We have a digital journal online, so they have QR codes that go with them in their journal. So they're able to scan them and keep their notes with them at all times. So they're able to open it up whenever they need to and study.
Today we have our kids working off our iPads, and we are working off a certain app that we've downloaded. It's called Nova Elements, and that app there is, we're actually building atoms, and we're interpreting the periodic table, trying to identify protons, electrons, and the neutrons of certain elements that it's a pre-made list that we have. And that's really what we're doing. We're just trying to build a virtual atom based off that information. It's more engaging. They're going to be self-motivated because they're actually doing it. It's going to be handheld rather than me standing in front of the class and just preaching to the choir. They're going to actually see it. They could hold it. They could do it. And I think they're more of that type of tactile learner where they have to touch and feel and do it themselves rather than just be auditory and just sit down and listen.
Today we are working on our business cards. To me, it's really important because, you could work in a textbook or on a computer, and on the computer, I tend to concentrate more than on a textbook. Probably because there's a lot of flashing lights on the computer, and then you open up a textbook and the textbook's kind of boring.
It's kind of the model that was implemented years ago when the expectation for students was get through school and become a worker. Someone that could follow instructions and do what they're told and work, kind of that assembly line mentality. Well, now the workplace requires, they don't want workers because our workers will be competing with people all over the world for worker type jobs. We need creators, innovators, developers, problem solvers. So classroom instruction has to change to accentuate and enhance each student's learning abilities. So it needs to become more student-centered, more project-based. We need students, instead of sitting in rows, listening to the teacher, we need them working in small groups, collaborating, and think tank type thing. The kind of stuff you see in large corporate organizations. It's more, they call it the knowledge economy. It's about bringing new knowledge to the forefront, and you can't bring that kind of knowledge to the forefront if you're sitting in rows while the teacher talks to you.
Back during that time, that was the proper approach to learning. You disseminate information, and you internalize it, learn it, and then you go on to the next grade level until you get to college. It was okay. There was nothing wrong with that system at that time or that period of time. But because the body of knowledge has been evolving and it's evolving exponentially, what happens is that now there's so much information.
You know, the traditional way of doing things, that's a dying breed. It's kind of phasing out. So we're adapting to this new era of moving in that direction where, hey, 21st century learning is the direction that we're going.
If a student is used to using, a Chromebook, if they're using Kindles, if they're using iPads at home, but then they go back to the 19th century as far as instruction, there's a huge disconnect. So our culture of education must match the culture that our students are living in so that they can take it and move forward. If they're not moving forward, we're holding them back.
All of us have been raised in this world that's moving so fast, and it's constantly changing and it's constantly different, So whereas somebody who was born in an earlier age, like let's say my parents, like back then, there was just so much less technology that now, we're just looking for something all the time. So I think that's why we get bored easily.
They lose us, and bringing out the technology is just like, oh, hey, whoa, like it's so much more exciting, and it's really boring when the teachers don't use their technology or use it to their advantage.
If they do lecture or something and it's for like, a couple minutes, and then they give you like this spin-off, like, okay, well, let's use your technology. That's when it's like, okay, I'm interested again because we're using technology. So if they can find a way, which some teachers have, to mix it both like using your own technology and give us a lecture, it's awesome.
When I lose interest, I just daydream. I'm not gonna listen to something I don't want to listen to. And I know she's trying to help us with our grades and everything, but there's different ways to teach besides talking and talking and talking. Like some kids literally fall asleep in the classrooms because our teacher, she doesn't know when to stop. Like once she repeats the directions, she's like, okay, let's go over this third time. And we understand it the first time.
And I'm like, ugh. Then I really just start daydreaming. And I always have like a different daydream every day, every time they have a long lecture. And at the end of the day, I remember about it, and I'm laughing at it because it's just like, it's mostly fun, and it's more fun in the daydream than listening to the lecture that's super long.
The world has it's shrinking, for them. The way that they can access information, particularly with the technology that they have, it's a challenge to keep their interest. If you're doing or preparing your lessons based on, 10, 15 years ago, technology has changed so much in this time that you really can't use, lessons from 2 or 3 years ago anymore. Everything's changed so much.
I feel that my teaching has just been turned on its head. This is my whole classroom, because I feel motivated to try different things, to try to get them engaged, and they're right there with me, and most of the times ahead of me, and teaching me to do certain things with technology.
21st century learning is definitely not a trend. It's something that we are going to keep on doing, and it's going to be something that's going to be even bigger this is just the beginning of it.
The innovative idea to get this really put into schools was a big thing. It's a big help, and it needs a lot of people involved in it. I think the school district's done a great job with letting everybody be aware of what they're doing. The big concern might be with parents is, you know, are we using it safely? And I know there's been stuff, and you know, protocol to make sure that happens. So other than that, I mean, I think it's a great thing that our children have had the benefit of, you know, a district that's trying to stay ahead of the pace.
You know, the content of the subjects that we learn is never going to change, but the mediums through which we learn it are constantly changing. You know, there's always something new that they can use. So I think that as long as they keep changing it up and making it something different, they're going to keep the attention of their students, because as we keep learning new things, we're interested in the new things. We want to know what they're about. So as they keep throwing new things at us, we're like, okay, well, let me understand this and let me understand this. But just the bad thing about us is that we get tired of things quickly, so it always needs to be changing. But thankfully, technology, you know, it's just moving at such a fast pace that I think teachers really, they can take that to their advantage, because it's always changing. There's always something new that they can teach us. Or not something new that they can teach us, a different way that they can teach us.